Right, it's thinking. All right, we are live here. It is Sunday, October. What's the date, Big Mama? October what? 13th. It's around 6:30 Central Time, and I'm with one of my speakers for the Mastermind we're going to be putting on October 22nd and 24th in beautiful Destin, Florida, on the beach, talking real estate, talking mindset, talking business development, talking affordable housing, talking private money, talking syndication. Evan, what else are you going to be talking about? Did I miss something?
Man, just blowing it up, going 10X. I mean, just making great connections and really just taking your life and your mindset and your business to the next level.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you know, I met Evan. I'm trying to think around. I met Evan, I think through Facebook. I think you inboxed me, said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna be in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you want to have coffee?" I think that's where we met.
Yeah. So we had you on Monumental, my podcast, and then a couple months later, I was like, "Hey, man, I'm about to do a 192 unit development, like right around the corner from where you live." I was like, all right, this is too much of a coincidence. I got to meet this guy. And yeah, we hit it off a couple years ago and been going at it ever since.
Yeah, man. Guys, if you're on here, please share and invite. We're going to drop some massive value on multifamily, affordable housing, syndication, private money. Evan's going to, you know, kind of deep dive what he's doing. Evan, how old are you? You're not a young, you're in your 20s, aren't you?
Yep, I will be before the Mastermind. By the time the Mastermind comes, I'll be in my 30s.
Okay, so he's 29.
Yep.
Evan is doing big things. Evan, why don't you give them a 50,000-foot view of what you've done, where you're at, you know, kind of how you got into real estate and what you've been up to. And we'll kind of get into things.
Let's dive into it. So, so a little background on me. I got into real estate when I was young. I was like, man, science, chemistry, pre-med, not for me in college. So I went another direction. I said, hey, that big $55 million development going in on campus when I was in school, I was like, I don't know what it is, but I got to be a part of that. And I got to find the guy who's doing it and like become buddies with him. And ended up through mutual connection, got an intro to him. And that intro, one thing leads to another. I impress him and start working for this developer, learned very quickly. I don't want to do property management. I don't want to handle the day-to-day management of the property, but I was like, I want to do what he's doing. I want to like make stuff like this happen. I want to change neighborhoods. I want to like really make a positive impact and be able to build real estate that I know is going to be there for the next 50 to 100 years. I mean, that to me was like glass shattered. I'm like, man, this is like life-changing stuff right here. And
while you're in school, college?
Yeah. I was like 19 years old at the time. So I just, you gravitate towards what gets you excited and what gets you passionate. And I thought it was going to be a doctor, and it turns out it was furthest thing from that. And it's making developments happen. It's making deals happen, and it's making literally like a new future for neighborhoods. So I worked for him for a couple of years, and then I was like, man, I want to do this with a group of us. Let's start a company. So we started a modular company in college. Basically building out modular components with houseboat manufacturing plants in Kentucky. And then one thing leads to another. I ended up trying to pitch the deal to bigger development companies. And one of them was like, hey, how about you come work with us? And I was like, man, this is just too good of an opportunity to pass up. I get to work with these guys that have like combined 100 years of experience in multifamily development all over like Southeast US, from like Kentucky to Georgia over to Texas. And so I worked with them for 6 years and really just cut my teeth. They kind of just like threw me in the deep end. They said, hey, figure out deals. I'm 23. I think I was 22 when they hired me, 23 when I really got started. And man, that was the best experience I could have had at that age, because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that the deals I was doing were massive. I was naive because that was all I knew.
Yeah, so it's like you just got thrown into massive deals, and that's where you got to start. Wow, what an education at such a young age.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, just just start big, because the bigger you start, the more you can really like compound that and build that momentum more quickly. I always tell people, like, whatever unit you're thinking about doing for your next deal, like add a little bit on that to where it makes you uncomfortable, and then go after that deal. Because that's kind of what we did at the beginning was, even with our modular company, we're like, hey, let's not do single family. Let's do a 20 unit. Let's do a 40 unit. And I didn't even know anything about how to build, how to estimate costs, how to like build a company even. But we just we made it happen. And so working for that company, they threw me in the deep end. And the first deal I ever did, I was 25 years old, and we did a 192 unit, $30 million deal in Baton Rouge. And that just, it took me forever to get it done. I was, not patient at all, because I didn't know the process. I didn't know how much time and commitment development takes. But I loved it once I got that first one done. It was painful, that like 2-year waiting process to get it done. And that's just to start construction. And then it takes another 2 years to build it. But yeah, it really kind of snowballed from there. Since then, I've done over 6 developments and quite a few acquisitions as well. And so today we've done over 1,400 units and $225 million worth of deals, really focusing in on uniquely that space of like public-private partnership. Where can we like actually add value to a community and provide that workforce affordable housing that is sorely needed across the country, especially now with COVID and all these people getting laid off, losing their jobs. A lot of people are downsizing or finding rental housing instead of buying their first home or whatever that like would have been that purchase. They're deferring to more time renting. And so now what's that?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
No, you're good. It's like what we're doing is we get to partner with cities. They usually 9 times out of 10, we want to go to cities where they really want us. And they're like, hey, we want you to come here. We want you to build, and we want to help you make it happen. We're going to we're going to kind of like clear the way and make this as easy as possible for you. And because they know it's like the backbone of their economy. That's how they thrive as a city, is by still keeping housing affordable for those that are kind of the backbone of the economy, the workforce of the economy.
That's what I wanted to talk about, affordable housing, right?
Yeah.
That, guys, if you haven't been paying attention, America is on the decline. The world at large is on a decline. Things are not getting cheaper. Inflation's eating up people's savings, people's earnings. I think and this is not to be a pessimist. I'm just telling you what I've noticed, the trends, the forecast. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. America's getting poorer. The white picket fence, brick on slab, single family home model in the next 50 years, I think will be an obsolete model. I think, and it's not because I want it to be, I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't this way, but affordable housing well, let me put it this way. There's no affordable housing anymore. Single family homes are not affordable. And affordable housing is so badly needed that people are literally, living in RVs right now. I'm seeing people buying RVs and parking them at RV. I was looking at buying an RV in an RV place in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And half of it was filled with full-time people there I'm talking beat up RVs. Wow. They paid $5,000 for, and they just pay the lot rent, which is like $40, and they stay there because it's affordable, right? So with that said, guys, you got to pay attention to what's going on, right? For you guys that are scaling up on nice single-family homes, I think it's a bad idea. I did that for a while. I did that when 10, 12 years ago when I first got into buying and holding. I was buying nice, pretty single-family homes for $150,000. Trying to get $15,000 to $2,000 a month in rent. Bad idea. I got hosed. I got smoked. As a matter of fact, I sold another one I bought like 33 houses. I just sold another one that I owned for like 6 years. I lost Patty, how much we lost? About 10, 15 grand. And that's a number and one of many that I've slowly sold off over the years that I have money on, because for one, they destroy it. No matter what kind of renter you have, they end up destroying it. It costs so much. And two, it's hard to replace find somebody to pay you $1,600, $1,700, $1,500 a month. in middle America. Now you go to Miami, San Francisco, that's probably low end. It's all relative.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Like a
middle
studio.
America. That gets you a piece of junk. So with that said, you got to figure out what is your sweet spot in your area. For me, it's that, $700 to $1,000 a month. A lot of people can afford that. No matter what the economy does, $700 to $1,000 a month. You can only go down so low, right? You can only before you hit bottom. Now, when I say affordable housing, guys, I'm not saying get in the hood, right? Where you got to bring an AK-47 to pick up rent. I'm talking working class people.
Yeah.
People making $15, $20 an hour. They're just working class people. And that's what I mean by affordable housing, right? And Evan's going to come to the mastermind and talk about, what he's doing, how he's raising money, how he's getting into the affordable, because everything you're doing, Evan, is affordable housing. You're not building freaking what Cardone's doing, where he's buying high-end apartments and all that stuff, where it's $2,000 a month in rent or $2,500. Y'all are literally building. What does it cost to do new construction per unit right now? And a lot of that's getting funded. You got ways that you're going to talk about the mastermind that the government's going to fund a lot of this stuff, right? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it. So really what we do is on the new construction side, we do 100% either workforce or affordable housing. And there's many different definitions of that, but really workforce is workforce is, we classify it by like income ranges and percentage of average median income for an area. So like workforce is basically people making 50 to 80 grand a year for a family household. Affordable is like 30 to 60. There's some overlap. And so those are kind of the two segments that we go after because we know that there's already a humongous need. Like we talked about, it's only literally getting exacerbated by what's going on right now. But really, so we partner with the government, usually the state or the local, and also they get tax credits from the federal government allocated through the state. So we end up sometimes coming into these deals with little or no of our own money, which is
say that again.
Yeah. So
are you going to show us how to do this mastermind?
Yep. Yeah. So that's really my passion is I'm like, man, this needs to be done all over the country. Why are more people not getting into it? It's because it's so freaking confusing and so much minutia that you have to go through to be able to get it. But once you get it, it's amazing because you can not only build something that has a massive positive impact on the families that you're serving, but you can also create something out of nothing, create a development that's going to be there 50, 100 years, and something that you can get into with little of your own money and be able to hold long-term and be able to cash flow.
So you don't have to put like your traditional 20 or 30% down as an investor, like what I'm doing when I buy a park. Like you're literally getting the government to fund 100% of it almost.
So we don't do 100% government funded. What we do is we get tax credits, which help pay for 30 to 40% of it. And then we get a loan for 50 to 60% of it. And then we either have to put in like defer part of our fee, or we get other local funding to help pay for the last part. So the government helps pay for it and incentivize it. And that's where the public-private partnership comes into play, where they help pay for our credits, or they give us the credits. We then sell those credits to private investors, usually banks. And those banks get a return on the credits. They get to basically get a dollar for dollar write-off on their taxes. So there's an incentive for them in the credits. So it's still an economic investment.
So Evan, do I have to be a multimillionaire? Do I have to have a Harvard degree? Do I have to be a real estate guru to be able to do this? Like, can anybody learn how to do this if they have the know-how or the want?
Yeah, I mean that's what I want to teach people is. It's like I was doing this when I was 23.
Can a kid from South Louisiana with half a brain and eats crawfish and alligators and walks around with, can a guy like me do this?
I don't know about you, maybe not you, Chris, but everybody else, yes.
Guys,
yes.
Put questions in the comments if you want to ask a question for Evan, and if you want to talk about something specific. So, but what I'm hearing, Evan, is that this is a very niche thing that you're doing. This is not something that like everybody knows about.
No, I mean, that's the crazy thing is I'm like, man, this is a great way where you can get in with none of your own money. You can own long-term, you can collect a developer fee. And on top of all the benefit for you and your company, you can also give back and do good for others and help the local economy, help the local families, and really have like an actual positive impact, like what we're doing in Lafayette. I mean, 192 families are living now, are going to start moving into pretty soon. They're wrapping up the first units there, and that's basically brand new, like almost Class A style apartments with, it's fenced in. It's got the clubhouse. We have the playground. We have a walking trail. We have preserved a bunch of existing trees on there. I mean, these are nice quality units. They're 1,000, 1,200 square foot units, and we're building them brand new, and they're paying like $800 to $900 a month for that.
Wow. And brand new construction, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. What does that look like? What can it?
Yeah, it's 2-bed, 2-bath, and 3-bed, 2-bath. I mean, you can't find that brand new in Lafayette.
So Evan, so if I found a piece of property, I can literally bring it to you, and we could put something together. And I'm sure it sounds like a process, right? There's probably a lot of paperwork involved, right? A lot of waiting, due diligence, government, blue tape, all that stuff. Correct? Yeah,
and that's where, and that's really why I do what I do. Is we're doing our affordable housing development mastery program is because I know that you really can't kind of dive into this and just pick it up and run with it. It's not that type of business. Really, I don't think any type of real estate is that business, but it's definitely more so on like, hey, you need to know the details. You need to know what you're doing. You need to have a mentor. And that's what I want to be for others, is that mentor. So we've already mentored a few people that are going through that process, finding their first deal, closing on their first development, or even acquisition as well. And that's been really exciting to me. I'm like, man, you really can go from not having done a development or affordable to all the way to the process of actually getting a deal done, getting a development done. And
it's not a get rich quick scheme.
It's no, I wouldn't say so. It's really a way to, you're going to have to invest in your time, your energy, your connections, your relationship, your mentor, because this is not something that happens overnight. But if you're willing to commit, if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to learn the craft, then you have this blue ocean of opportunity where there's endless clients in the residents that you're serving and the cities that you're serving, and there's free capital coming from the government, and you can do it with little or no of your own money. Like, there's nonprofits out there that have like a negative balance and they're getting deals done. Wow. Just to give you an example, like, you literally don't have to have money to do this. You just have to have mentors and relationships who do.
Let me answer somebody's question. Marquis says, this seems better than wholesaling. Laugh out loud. Well, this is a different game than wholesaling. Wholesaling is an active business where, it's transactional. You make money quick. This is not, like I was saying, this is not like Evan was saying, it's not a get rich quick. This is a long process. In fact, somebody just asked, how long does this process take from start to finish, Evan?
Yeah, that it's not for the faint of heart. It's really, so when I did my first deal, it took me 2 years from start of like me just pounding the pavement, like dialing for dollars, visiting sites, talking to brokers, talking to property management groups. Like, I was hustling. It took me about a year just to find the right first site and get the financing lined up. And then once I had that deal, it took me another year to get it closed, because there's so much in this process, where you're buying existing, everything already exists. It's there. You just have to take account of what's there and where's the opportunity, and then implement a game plan. You can do that within a couple months. Whereas this is really, it's like, you really have to plan ahead. You have to coordinate with many different agencies, governments, also your contractors, your architects, you're getting your permits. There's just a lot more balls to juggle. But it is worth about every second of it when you get to see that first development. I remember going on the 192 unit deal we did in Baton Rouge, and just seeing, like, I went out to job site, didn't tell anybody who I was, and I see like 50 guys out there all like working away, like pouring cement. Some are working on the framing, some are like working on the underground utilities, like doing all different things. I was like, man, this is like the most rewarding thing, just seeing people actually working, this many people that we can help provide jobs for. And then, not to mention, we had a grand opening in Nashville a couple of years ago, 240 unit deal there. And we had the mayor of Nashville there, And we had one of our residents, and he had a phenomenal story. He basically said, he's like, he's like 23 years old. He's like, I've been homeless my entire life. He's like, I've been working at this homeless camp as a volunteer for the last like 6 years. And basically since he's 17. And he said, this has been my first home that I've ever had to myself. He said, when I put that key in the door, I literally cried. He's like, I bawled. And to me, I was like, man, that makes it all worth it. And the fact that we are providing something that does not exist. And we had 1,500 families on the wait list for a 240 unit deal that we already leased up. And we still had 1,500 families like waiting in line to move into this place. That just shows you like a little bit of the need of like what we're doing here. And then on top of all that, you've built a brand new $34 million development that's going to be able to cash flow every month. Yeah.
And you help. I mean, look, at the end of the day, for $850, $900, you can't get much on the open market for rentals.
Yeah.
Not brand new construction, not in a single family home.
Exactly.
But what you can get that in what you're doing. I know you can, for $850 to $1,000, you can get brand new construction almost in my mobile home parks. So affordable housing, guys, is definitely the wave of the future, bar none. And I know Evan studies a lot of this. There's an affordable housing crisis going on right now, right, Evan? I mean, that people just can't find anything that's affordable to even rent.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. It's like, especially on the coast, like any of the bigger cities, the booming cities, it's terrible, man. It's like Austin, Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, here where I live, all up and down New York, California, all those places. Like you can't find even a decent, okay place like under $1,000 in a lot of those major cities. And that's crazy. Like, how are you expecting somebody to make $10, $12, $15 an hour and be able to afford, $1,800 a month in rent? It just doesn't really add up. And so that's where our product comes into play, and it says, hey, we can actually build you a brand new community that's going to be in great shape for the next 50 years at least. And we can offer it to you for basically $1 per square foot rents or less. And that's just unheard of without that ability to do government partnership. And we do, like on the acquisition side, we do some what we call naturally occurring affordable housing, kind of like mobile home parks, where it's like it just inherently is affordable housing by the price point. You don't need that government partnership. We do some of that as well on the acquisition side, where we buy existing communities, we fix them up, we add value to them, we basically prolong the life of the community. Whereas if the current owners would have kept them, they would have just deteriorated to a point of no return. And that's another form of affordable housing. So there's many different ways to tackle this, but we focus the majority of our time on development.
Nice. Nigel said, "What's Evan's primary retail estate business?" Sorry, tuned in late. I don't know. I'm assuming with his primary real estate business.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that. Yeah. So it's probably, this is what you do full time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we focus in on workforce affordable housing, public-private partnerships, typically in urban areas throughout the Southeast, 100 plus in population, growing job count, growing economic indicators, growing salaries, which is going to be hard to predict now, given 2020. But yeah, we're looking for cities like Nashville, like Charlotte, like Atlanta, like Austin, like Tampa, like Orlando, Jacksonville, cities like that, where we know in the next 15 to 20 years, there's still going to be massive, if not more, demand for our product than there is today.
You look at the economic infrastructure, what the economy's doing, what's the job situation. I'm sure there's an exact formula you guys go by, because you're not going to go out and build this in the middle of country town, say Opelousas, Louisiana, right? Or New Iberia, this is a country area where I live in the outskirts. Yeah. You're looking for places like Lafayette, Baton Rouge, Nashville, Miami, Orlando. Yeah. And what you're looking for is you're looking for probably affordable land in a good area, I'm assuming, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we typically we find value with off-market deals, off-market on the land side. That's where we typically find a lot of the value. Like to give you an example, we just found 20 acres off-market here in Nashville. We're able to put a 2-year contract on it, and that will basically allow us the time we need to permit it, to zone it, to get the financing, to get the politics, basically get everything lined up. So we basically start construction when we close on the land. So we're not buying land and then sitting on it. It's really a liability without, and something that's cash flowing on top of it. So that's what we try to do, and that usually happens best when we are off market. But we look for opportunity areas where it's in the path of growth, it's in the path of redevelopment or future development, and that's typically in usually like near the core or on the kind of growth corridors is where we look as well.
Construction. So typically what does it take? Probably 6 months to land a land deal and get the politics and all that out of the way. And then probably a year and a half for construction. Yeah.
So it typically, we say like the quickest you can get a deal done, the quickest I've ever gotten a deal done is about 11 and a half months. That's from finding the site. That's like getting it under contract to permitting, financing, pre-development, all the pre-development process, everything that takes before you break ground with a shovel. Then the construction process takes 16 to 18 months, but you can start moving people in about month 13. And then month 13 on, it takes about 12 to 15 months to lease up. So you're looking at like all in from like finding a site to stabilization, it's like 4 to 5 years.
Okay. So, but you said 11 to 12 months. Is that finding the land and building it?
No, that's just finding the land and getting it entitled, permitted, zoned, financed, getting all the approvals necessary.
So you got 11
to start construction.
Months, let's just call it 8 months to a year for the land and financing. And then from there, you get the financing. How long does construction usually take on, the last one you built was 180 units?
Yeah, it's typically like 16 to 18 months.
So another year and a half. So you got 2.5 years roughly from finding the deal to finishing construction. And then you got another probably 1.5 to 2 years of leasing to fill up. It's about a 4.5 to 5 year project. But once you're full, dude, that's like, you're talking about generational wealth. You're talking indestructible income at that point. And typically, and you guys are probably thinking, well, Chris, that's 5 years, man. I don't want to do that. That's ridiculous. I want the get rich quick scheme. Folks, there's no such thing. Most people that start a business outside of real estate takes them 4 or 5 years just to get it off the ground. Your first 1 to 3 years, you sometimes breaking even, losing money at best, right? So all you get rich quick folks is probably not for you. You can go watch, those other guys that are taking pictures in front of Lambos and smoking cigars and doing all that dumb shit they do. This is real shit, right? This is real. Like I bring the real life stuff, right? The people that are actually doing things that are real, right? For you guys that are trying to get it done quick, there's no such thing, right? You got to put in the hard work. There's no easy way. The way out is through, like straight through. You gotta grind it out, like Evan's doing, like I'm doing, right? So
and the best way to be doing that is by starting today and building that momentum every day. I mean, I'm fortunate. I'm 29, and I got started in this when I was 19. But even I was literally on the drive home today. I was listening to I forget the name of the book, but it's the founding story of Home Depot. And these guys were 49 years old when they started Home Depot. Like 49 years old. Like there's never a time when it's too late to start something, but you have to be planting those seeds today in order for you to really get the full benefit of those seeds and those trees and the fruit of your labor, 5-10 years down the line. I mean, you'll see that within the first few years, but it really will mature after that 5 to 10 year period.
That's the problem, Evan. They don't even want to plant. Most people don't even want to plant, right? They just want the tree. Look at somebody else that's been planting. I've been planting for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
I'm just starting to see some fruits of the labor. You've been planting for how long? You been doing this for?
10 years.
10 years. Like that's what it takes, guys. That's the real honest truth. Anything that you can do quick that makes a lot of money quick can be lost quick. Anything you do slow, step, that's hard. It's hard to break, right? I was telling Evan on the call the other day, like literally what I'm doing, it would take a nuclear disaster to wipe out what I'm doing in affordable housing because it's such a high demand. I have so many clients that want. I have a waiting list, guys. I have a waiting list in my mobile home parks, right? I can't build them and rehab them fast enough. So let's take some of these questions. Claudia says, this is exactly what I'm looking for to do. I live in Newark and have so many connections. I'm a Hispanic commissions and my city needs more affordable housing. I'm not scared of the footwork and diligent work it will take. I'm ready for it. Where do I contact Evan? So you can inbox Evan, or you can come to my mastermind. He's going to be speaking to my mastermind, Claudia. If you want to come to the mastermind, he's going to be giving you all the nuggets, exactly how he's doing it, all the resources. So Luke says, do you make money from the cash flow or the development? I know you make money from the cash flow, but do you make money from the development too, Evan?
Yeah. So the way it works is part of the incentive is state agencies want to incentivize developers and investors and even nonprofits, really any group that wants to provide the affordable housing. They want to incentivize you. And so the best way to do that is to provide the developer fee. So typically on a market rate meaning like just building it with 20, 30% equity, 70% loan, you get it from a lender, you get it from investors, that you typically will see a 3 to 5% developer fee. On our affordable deals, we are afforded a 10 to 15% developer fee as part of our incentive to do these deals. Now, we don't always get paid that out up front or through stabilization. We get paid that in increments as the project gets completed. And then sometimes we have to defer part of that and we actually get paid that out of cash flow, depending on how well underwritten the deal is. But yes, we do make a developer fee. That's kind of our front end payment. And then we make cash flow as well on the back end.
Evan, I have a question. How many acres typically are you needing to build, say, or let me actually, how many acres and what's the minimum units y'all build?
I would say typically minimum, like bare minimum is like 70 to 80 units. Anything less than that. And it's kind of like, if you think about it's going to take you just as long, it's going to take you just as many phone calls, just as much work to do 40 units as it is 200 units. So it's usually worth your time and effort and energy to do more units if you can handle that. So that's like bare minimum 70, 80 units. We usually only do that if it is a good deal. We typically try to stay in the 200 plus unit range. And for that, you need 12 acres. We usually try to say like 20 units an acre, 18 to 20 units an acre, depending on like what the topography is like how hilly is it? The creeks, rivers, wetlands, all those things. But if you had a rectangular site, we literally look for 10 to 12 acres.
Dude, I got a rectangular site paid off free and clear in one of the most desirable areas in Youngsville, Louisiana, in downtown. I own free and clear, but I only own 4.5 acres. Is that something we can do? Is that something or is that not enough? Big Mama shaking her head. She don't want it. She wants me to build a dream home on that. Mom, we can build 80 units on that. 4.5 units.
We build 80 units. We can build your dream home anywhere.
Well, that was her dream property build, but it's
I love it.
So you'd have to have, what's the minimum acreage you would need to do it? So we're doing, if it's a very urban location, and the deal makes sense, or you have the land contributed as equity, which we can do as well. Then we can do. We're doing an urban one in Nashville right now, 4.5 acres, 470 units. So we can do 100 units an acre. If you go urban, 4-story with a parking deck, it's very expensive. You don't normally want to do that unless there's really a major financial incentive from the local government to do that, which in this case there's a lot of political capital, a lot of people getting behind this project, which is how we're able to make that happen. But typically I would say like 40 to 50 units an acre if you want to go more urban. If you do 4 or 5 stories or 4 stories.
Yeah, exactly. If you do 4-story with an elevator, and basically like a hallway, like a interior corridor is what we call it. If you do that style building, then you could get 40 to 50 units an acre.
See, Mama, we could do it. she don't want to do it. All right. So we got Theo says, so if you had 200K from a sale, what would recommend a long game? So if you had, okay, so I'm assuming she's asking if you had 200,000 from a sale, what would you recommend investing in today's market for the long game? Theo, I would invest in what you know and understand, right? I don't know and understand what Evan does, right? I wouldn't go try to do what Evan does. I understand mobile home parks, right? I own 8 of them, about to close on my 9th one in 2 weeks. That's my model. I understand that. So when you first getting started, you need to pick a niche, and I would pick it in affordable housing, and I would go all in and master the subject, and then dump your capital in it. You don't have enough information or knowledge to even invest your 200K. You're probably better off holding on to that 200K, either giving it to an operator who understands, like me or Evan, where you can get some guaranteed return, and you're not so iffy on, the know-how of how to compound that money, or deep dive, come to a mastermind like mine and figure out the game, right? So Evan, I'll let you touch on that too.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm first off, I'm glad we're finally starting to do in-person events again. So I applaud you for doing that. That's awesome. But I mean, that's how I built my book of business, my book of investors, my relationships, my mentors. That all came from conferences, mastermind events like this, just like Chris is putting on in October. So I highly recommend anybody listening right now, if you're watching this or a replay or whatever, make sure you guys come to Destin and hang out with me and Chris and be able to network and mastermind, because the connections and the relationships you can build in that room alone are priceless. It's just, you're going to be surrounded by high level real estate people, like Chris, like myself, like many others that are going to be there. And we're going to be kind of peeling back the curtain on what we're doing and how you can do it too. And not to mention, you could find investors there, you could find partners there, and you can find mentors. And those are probably 3 of the most valuable things in real estate.
Absolutely. Let's see. Some guy said there's no substitute for hard work. Absolutely. Listen, nothing's easy, guys. Like, hard work is the answer. Yeah. Right? What separates me, I'm not that smart, but what I have is a insane work ethic, guys. So I just listen to a bunch of smart guys like Evan, right? And I pretend to be smart because I just copy a bunch of people that are smart. Right? So we got another one right here. Charlie says, took 5 years for a business to do 2 million in revenue. Now it's a machine, but first 3 were rough. Exactly, Charlie. There's an entrepreneur right there. Charlie just said it took 5 years to do 2 million. Like, it's not going to happen overnight, right? Let's go to Jared Graves. Jared Graves I talked to Jared. Jared's one of my students in the wholesaling. He's crushing it. He's in Houston. He quit his job. He's doing wholesaling full time now. He's crushing.
That's awesome.
And he's ready. He's doing so well in the wholesaling and flipping. He's ready to start getting into multifamily. Jared says, are you coaching for affordable housing development, or just financing, or both / all the above?
Yeah, good question. So we are doing affordable housing development mastery. And if you want to hop on a call with me and talk more about that, it's coachwithevan.com. And then, yes, on the financing side, so we're doing really kind of the gamut of, like, on the acquisition side, we just closed on a 65 unit deal on Tuesday. We're about to close on a 22 unit here in a couple weeks. We're working on the development side. We're doing a 400 plus unit deal. We're doing a 240 unit deal. And we're also selling some entitled land that we just got entitled in Huntsville as well. So we're doing a lot on both the coaching side and the actual financing of acquisition and development.
Love it. Okay. John says, let's see, I have something really nice upstate, my retirement complex for 300 houses plus 20 unit senior citizen complex, 36 million approved plans. Wow, that's awesome, John. That's a whole nother niche. Senior living, affordable housing, the side, that's a whole nother niche that is freaking booming right now. Matter of fact, across the street from where I live, they're building, how many units is that developed? It's probably got to be 400 or 500. It's probably 500 units of affordable housing for seniors, right? It's assisted living is what it is. I'm sorry. That's another big, huge space because all the baby boomers. So here we go. Another question.
John, real quick, we're actually doing we're looking at doing a affordable senior deal right now. A guy owns the land, kind of similar situation. He owns the land. He wants to roll it in his equity, but it's already approved for senior housing. So we're going to put that in with our affordable housing model.
Nice. Anthony says, how can get a land deal in front of a developer? Go show it to him, Anthony. Call him up.
Yeah, give me a call.
Yep. So Jerry says, are you doing the affordable housing north of Nashville City toward Bowling Green, Kentucky?
Yeah, good question. I looked at an acquisition deal in Bowling Green, Kentucky for affordable. It's only, I think, like an hour and a half from Nashville. But yeah, we probably will look at some point in Bowling Green on the development side, but it hasn't been one of our core focus markets right now. Are you there, Jerry? Are you located in Bowling Green?
Yeah, Jerry is. I know Jerry. He's in that area.
Okay, nice.
He's a good guy. All right. Jared says, I'd be highly interested in the PML side and that government lending. Laugh out loud. Okay. All right. Awesome. Let's see. John says, need refinancing, bridge loans, ground up construction loans, commercial loans, residential loans, multifamily mixed loans. We have excellent rate. Okay, we can't pitch on my. All right, John, we got you, brother. We'll hit you up. If y'all need something, go see John for your loan. All right. That's awesome. Jerry says yes. All right. So wrapping up. We got about 15 minutes left. We'll take a few more questions, but at the end of the day, guys, this is where it's going to be at in the future. I don't bring these guys on because I just think they're cool, or I think I'm guessing this is the trends, this is the statistics, this is what's happening, right? High-end condos will get crushed. High-end apartments will get crushed. I think the single-family home model will get crushed. I think even with COVID, right? I still think, even if they let everything back to normal, we're still going to see a slow. I mean, you don't go from wide open back and take down 30% of GDP and then go back to wide open. We're going to have at least another year to 2 years of probably slow down. 30%. I think I told you this, Evan, 30% of people in the United States in June didn't pay their mortgage or their rent, right? So we're going to have massive hurt in the marketplace. Just because you're a company and you laid off, say 30% of your employees and they open up everything does not mean that they're going to hire everybody back, right? So even if those people don't have a job, guess what? They still need a place to live. And what are they going to do? They're going to go from that single family home, high-end condo, high-end apartment to affordable housing, right? And but you can only go down so far. Fortunately, we live in the modern age where you can only hit so rock bottom, right? You have government funding, HUD housing, food stamps. The government won't let you starve to death, and they won't let you live outside unless you choose to. I mean, I got some people you see on the side of the road that choose to live like that. But so that tells you if you're in the right sweet spot in that safe zone, you're going to be insulated. And that's where I'm putting all my chips. I'm putting all my chips right there in that sweet spot, and I'm going to bet all the money on that, right? And I think Evan is doing the same thing. And I think, all right, son, tell him hi. He wants to keep on. He's he wants to get in affordable housing. So, so understand where the economy is going and think with all that, right? So, Evan, I'll let you have some last few words. And before I let Evan come on, get to this mastermind, guys. Listen, I don't do anything half-assed. You're going to learn so much. I've got another 4 or 5 people that I'm going to be interviewing coming on, going over everything from affordable housing, syndication, private money, scaling a wholesaling team, flipping, private money, branding and marketing. We're going to help you really navigate it. And guys, we get into real estate for a reason. We get into real estate for more time, more freedom, more money. There's a reason why 90% of the world's millionaires did it through real estate. I did it through real estate. I didn't become a millionaire from a business. I became a millionaire through real estate, right? Yep. And I took all the revenue I got from my business and rolled it into real estate. And just from, inflation, appreciation, and I become a net worth millionaire, right? And this is the way to do it, guys. This is the ticket. So Evan, I'll let you say a few more words, and we'll take the last few questions, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah. To add on to what Chris was saying, I think real estate just has this amazing effect where you can literally turn around an asset and double its value in a couple of months. To give you a small anecdote of that, there was even just a smaller deal, just getting in on a small multifamily deal. We had a 10 unit, and within a matter of like 4 months of doing work on this 10 unit, we took its value from $1 million to $2 million. And where else can you do that other than real estate? And barely any of our own money. We did some creative financing. We figured out how to do basically 10% down. We got a seller credit. But those are things you can do to get into real estate with little of your own money and to be able to double your money in a couple of months. But it takes surrounding yourself with guys like Chris, guys like myself, guys that have done it, have done this before and have been through the crap you don't want to do and have learned those mistakes. I just the last 10 years, I've learned from my mentors who they've done it for like 20, 30 years, but I still make mistakes. So right. I've learned from my own mistakes. I've learned from their mistakes. I've learned from them what not to do. And all that just compounds. And so that's why like being in Destin, October, was it 22nd to 23rd?
22nd through the 24th of October.
Yeah, 22nd to 24th. Guys, join us.
Yeah, 22nd is a Thursday. We show up Thursday, but we go all day Friday, all day Saturday. So it's really the 23rd and 24th. But okay. we get there the Thursday. So but we can get there Thursday, 22nd, go all day Friday, all day Saturday, and you leave Sunday. Yeah,
so that weekend in October, come make it happen with us. I'm really pumped for it. I know even like when I go to these events, I still learn something new like every day. And you build relationships with people. Like the amount of people I've met over the conferences over the years and the masterminds I'm in, I've done deals with them. They've invested in my deals. I've invested in their deals. I've partnered with some of them. They brought me deals. They brought me land. They bring me off-market acquisition deals. I mean, that comes about because of that in-person, like face-to-face meeting and really getting to know somebody. Yes.
All right.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the power of it. So I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited. I'm grateful that Chris is including me on this because I know this is going to be just a killer event. And so I'm pumped about that. And then also really like the opportunities are endless where you can learn from Chris, you can learn from myself and be able to kind of tap into what we're already doing. Like I'm doing in affordable development. Chris is doing in mobile home parks and wholesaling. That took us many, many years to create and become successful and build our own momentum. And so now what I've learned from others and now I'm implementing, I can teach to you or Chris can teach to you and you can start implementing like today.
For pennies, guys, for pennies. So what Evan's got a master's, a doctorate degree in land development, pulling permits, dealing with the politics of it. That's probably the hardest piece. And then all the paperwork, the red tape, dude, that's worth $100,000 just learning all that. And you can come to my event for peanuts in compressed time of everything that he's learned, I've learned, 3 other speakers come and learn, and you compressing all that into a weekend for a fraction of the cost. This is how you level up, guys. This is how I've leveled. This is how I've went to masterminds, conferences. I've spent tons of money on my personal development and seminars, events, got to meet people, and you just steal knowingness, right? You steal other people's knowingness, and that's the hack. That's the biggest hack of this.
Yeah.
A business and entrepreneurship is steal what other people have worked hard for. I think Socrates said it best. He says, why would you work hard to try to figure out stuff when you can find out easily what other people have worked hard for? That's right. And that's what you're doing here. So Jerry says, what dates the Mastermind? We'll be back in Destin the first week of October. So Jerry, October 22nd through the 24th. Inbox me, Jerry, if you're interested. John says the best thing for sure. Rents is the programs such for veterans and senior citizens. When's the Mastermind's October 24th 4th. Okay. And then what about buying land to rent out spaces due to the fires in California? No one has homes from losing them in the fire, renting out the spaces, land that you buy. That's, I don't know if you want to talk, that's probably a long topic. Somebody asked too, are you going to try to do mobile home parks? Are you going to try to develop brand new mobile home parks? Is that in the radar, or is government?
That's a good question. We've talked about it. It's not our core focus, but if we had an opportunity to do something like that, and it wasn't too out of our wheelhouse, then we would definitely pursue it. I think that is, I personally, I love mobile home parks because I think they are another facet of affordable workforce housing that is very much needed. And so I would love to help either create them or do what you're doing and buy them and fix them up. We haven't done it yet, but we've definitely talked about it.
I can tell you this, guys. Everybody asks me, Chris, I get an inbox, Chris, why don't you do one from scratch? And the reason I don't do a mobile home park from scratch is exactly what we just talked about here with Evan, is because it takes a long time to deal with the politics and the development. I'd rather buy a shitty rundown park. It's a lot of work, but it's less work than trying to do one from scratch. I can buy one, it's already there, it's grandfathered in. Yeah, it's got shit trailers, but it's still easier to buy something that's all screwed up and to redo it than it is to do something from scratch. But on this side, what Evan's doing, it's very niche in the sense that Evan, you don't have a whole lot of money into this out of your own pocket, right?
No. I mean, we spend a couple $100,000 on pre-development where we're buying plans, we're doing land deposits, we're paying architects, we're paying permit fees. So we have some pre-development capital, but by the time we close on construction financing, that construction loan pays us back for all of our expenses. So by that point, we have no money into it.
Wow. Yeah, guys. I got money into my deals. You know, we're putting a lot of money down. Now we're refinancing once we finish. We force appreciation. We go in and I'm getting all my money back within 6 months to a year. But yeah, guys, come to this mastermind. It's going to be awesome. You get to hang out with Evan, me, a bunch of other speakers. You're going to meet some connections that are just, you can build some lifelong relationships. I got a lot of partners that I have across the country. This is where I met them. I met them at masterminds. They've been some of my students. So, Evan, where can they follow you at, man?
Yeah, the best place, I would say Instagram. That's where I'm most active, at Evan Holladay, EvanHolladay. And then you can hit up our website if you're interested in investing or partnering with us. It's holladayventures.com, podcast, Monumental podcast. And then if you're interested in the coaching program, it's coachwithevan.com.
Awesome. All right, guys. Inbox me if you're interested in coming to the event. And listen, there's only be 30 people there. We're not going to have any more than 30. This is an intimate mastermind. This isn't like,
it's going to go quick, guys.
Yep. We're already almost halfway full. So, and we only got 40 days left. So, all right, guys. Well, I think that's it. Evan, you were great. Thanks for coming on, man. And appreciate you. That was awesome. You killed it. And guys, stay tuned for next week. Every week I'm going to have a new speaker on until the mastermind. So keep skilling up, keep leveling up. Go to chrisrood.com if you're ready to level up and skill up on the wholesaling side or the mobile home park side, and go follow Evan and see what he's got going on and come to our mastermind. All right, guys.
I love it.
Appreciate you, Evan. Take care.
Thanks, man.
All right. Bye-bye.